Assalamualaikum and a very good day everyone. My name is Muhammad Ashraf, and in this video I will be delivering a lecture on academic writings, sources and how to incorporate them into our writings. Alright, so in this topic, first of all, we will look at the types of sources that are available for us to use. So it is important for us to know all these different sources because these different sources have different credibility and standings in the academic world. So the first one is academic articles. So for academic articles, so they consist of journal articles and academic books. So these are usually considered as um, the strongest source that you can use in your writing, right? Uh, yeah, they are the most credible. Why are they credible? Because they are usually cited and referenced, and they are also peer reviewed. Peer reviewed here means they are evaluated by other experts in their respective fields, the works, I mean, and also they are usually written by experts of the field lah, right? Okay, and the next one is popular writings. They are less credible compared to academic articles, right? Because they are usually written by journalists or people who are not in the academic world. So these writings, they are intended for wider audience. So they would use more uh, easier style of writing compared to academic articles. For academic articles, you would find that it is very technical usually. So for academic articles, they are usually more difficult. And for popular writings, why is it less credible? It is because it is often sensationalized. Sensationalized means that usually this type of publications, they would depend on readership, right? So more people buying and reading their their writings, it means that more revenues for them. So this is why they are sensationalized or exaggerated, right? So some facts are maybe exaggerated for these writings. Okay, other sources, right? So there are also official sources. So think of the press release we see in the by the Ministry of Health, for example. So these are also sources of which you can use in your academic article as well. So policy papers, governmental directives. So usually they are well researched and experts driven, right? So governments would usually have a group of experts to review and produce these writings. Right. So there are also other sources. These are less conventional, but you can still use them in your academic article. So they are interview, videos, television shows, social media postings. So in your writing, if you want to uh, state that if your information come from these sources, you can do that. But you have to be careful that you have to find the correct citation format. Alright, so these are the criteria you can use to evaluate the reliability of your sources. So the first one here, it is called CRAP, right? So first C, current C is it? Sorry, this is typo. Is the information updated? Right? So usually for sciences field, you have to um, you have to look at information from 5 years before only, right? Usually, um, And even if the information is from 2 years ago, but you find it to be, because the technological world is moving rather rapidly, right? New technology always developed, so you have to be careful with the currency of your information as well. You have to make sure that the sources you look into are not outdated, right? And the next one, relevancy. Is it related to your writing? So you have to find information that is related to your writing. So you have to be careful with this, right? Um, Sometimes we tend to uh, take some things even though it looks like it is the same, like what we want to write, but sometimes it is not the same, right? So you have to be careful with the relevancy of the sources material as well. Make sure that it is related to the subject that you are writing. That is why also you have to check with multiple papers, right? You have to find a lot of papers and see if the information you get from this source is the same as the information you get from the other sources. All right, the next one is authority. Who are the author of your source? Are they the experts in the field? Do they have, or also you can look for, it is important for you to know who the author are so that you can identify any potential bias, right? So with some authors, they may be invested, they may have invested interest in certain topics. Accuracy, so you have to look at the data and statistics presented in the paper that you refer to as your source. And the last one is purpose. Identify the intent of the authors or organization so you can check for potential bias. So yeah, this is also important because you can find that sometimes even in scientific study they are being sponsored by some company, right? So for example, it has been revealed, right, in the past the nutrition industry, they are um, they are heavily sponsored by food corporation, right? So you can see that a lot of things are being pushed to the people, that are a lot of information that are being pushed to the people which are not usually very accurate. So for example, the myth, there's like a general notion that are we have to take heavy breakfast, right? We have to take breakfast in the morning. Breakfast is important, but do you know that you actually it is something that is being sponsored. The research that shows that breakfast is important is actually sponsored by companies that produce cereals. So they try to push this information to the general public so that people will eat cereals in the morning, right, for breakfast. So they want to push the cereal industry. Right, so that is one example. All right, next we'll look at how do we use others' work in our essay. So using other works in our essay, it seems like copy pasting, right? But this is not copy pasting. We are not taking things directly from others, but yeah, we do actually, but because we cite our sources, then it is not considered as cheating or plagiarism. Okay, so first let's look at why we have to cite. Okay, we cite because it indicates that we have done thorough research about the subject that we are writing. So yes, that is a feature of academic article. Whatever things that you write about, you have to read a lot into the subject matters so that you know um, all the perspective that are available in the all the perspectives that are presented regarding the subjects you are writing about. And the next one, so the readers can trace back the sources you use. Citation is a very particular form of writing, or not writing, of documentation. You have to document, you have to state um, who's the author. From citation, you have to state who's the author of the source you write in, what's the title of the article, the date, and a lot of information that will help the readers to trace back the sources you use. So that is why you have to use citation. And the next one, the third one, giving credit to the authors. So in the academic world, citation is like a currency that uh, they have to have, right? So for example, Google scholars would actually count how many citation the scholars have, so you can check. So the higher the citation, meaning it shows that a lot of people refer to their work, so it gives the authors some prestige, right? And also it is to avoid plagiarism. Yes, whatever we are writing, we take the information from somewhere else, but to avoid that, to show that we are not plagiarizing, we have to cite. It is a way to show that we take our information from somewhere else. It is not our original idea. So what do we cite exactly, right? So we cite information that are not common knowledge. So how do we know if the information we are writing is common knowledge or not? So the answer is, if you are not sure, you have to check your statement as much as possible. So for example, if you want to write about something like, usually in the beginning of paragraph, you say, nowadays, almost everybody in Malaysia have smartphone, right? So for a critical readers, they will be asking, is it really everybody? So are you saying that 90% of people have smartphone? All right, what is the exact percentage of people with smartphone in Malaysia exactly? So they will check and they will question your one single sentence there. They will question it. So what you have to do, you have to check your information. So you have to Google how many the percentage of people with smartphone in Malaysia. So you have to and then once you find your information, you have to alter your whole sentence. So it will look like, in Malaysia, 75% of adults have or own smartphones. And then you have to cite. You put where your information come from. So you see that if you practice citation and writing like this, then the information you put in your writing will be more precise and more accurate. So how to cite? So here there are various formats for citing. There's the APA, MLA, Chicago, Harvard, and other format actually. But we have to focus only on APA citation because that is the only um, citation that is relevant lah in Malaysia, right? So there are two places you have to put your citation in, which is within the text, right? In text, or what we call it in text citation, and at the end of the reference, at the end of the text and the reference list. So within the text, you have to indicate the exact sentence that you take your idea from, right? Where is it from, right? So let's look at the okay, let's move on to this website. Okay, so citing. Let me just a website for a bit. Okay, so this is the basics, right? So how to cite? So like what I said before, remember that there are two places you have to cite. So this one is for the end text citation. So APA style, APA stands for American Psychological Association, by the way, right? So you have to state this Langer R. What is this? This is actually the name of the author, right? So the last name and the first name, you have to put the initial only of the first name. 1990 is the year of the publication date 1990. New methods of drug delivery, this is the title of the article. Science is the the title of the journal, right? Source title, science, and you see here science is italicized. So citation format is very particular, so you have to be careful where do you put your comma, where do you put your uh, full stop here, where you put your brackets, yeah, and where to italicize. And 249 4976 here is the volume and the issue, and the last one 1527 to 1533 is the uh, page numbers, right? So different style have different ways of citing, so you have to know this format, right? Now let's move on to this, right? So the basic here, let's look at it. Okay, so in-text citation, which means that where is it in the text exactly, you have to write. You have to, how to write, right? So here, for example, Jones 1998. So you have to, there are two ways as well. You can put this is the in-text citation. You only have to put the last name and the year of the publication. Jones 1998 found, or Jones 1998 has found, right? So this is just a grammatical thing. All right. Within, you can put the citation within the sentence here like this, or you can also put it at the end of the sentence. Jones 1998. So you can incorporate it as part of your sentence, or you can put it at the end of the sentence. Right. If you want to quote directly from the publication, meaning that you want to use the exact wording from your source, you have to write the page number, right? So for example, you write page P for one page and PP for multiple pages. So here you might write Jones 1998 page 199 here, page, because you want to indicate that the source come from this page. Jones 1998 page 199 to 201. So PP for if the passage come from 2 page. Right, so here you can see how to put exact quotation here. There's an example here. According to Jones 1998, students often had difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. Page 199. So the exact quotation quote mark here, it indicates that this exact sentence can be found in the source. Okay. Also, she stated students often had difficulty using APA style. This one, you put the citation at the end of the sentence. So compared to this one, Jones is part of the sentence, right? But here, Jones is in the bracket at the end of the sentence. Okay, for long quotation, if you want to put direct quotation that are 40 words or longer, you have to put it in block, like here. You have to put it separately from the rest of the paragraph. Yeah, you have to indent half a half an inch, and you have to write like this block, right? And you have to don't forget the page number. So if you paraphrase a sentence, you only take the idea and not the exact wordings. You don't have to put page number. But if you take exact wordings, you have to write the page number. And if it is short, you have to put quotation marks. But if it is long, you have to put it at a separate uh, part in the paragraph. You have to separate it from the rest of the paragraph. Right, so like what I said, it could be quite overwhelming if you are not used to it. But once you are used to the format, then it'll get easier. So make sure that you go through this website so that you can look at this, because there are a lot of things you have to check. Actually, you have to check whether because it will be different if the sources have more than three authors, right? It will be different. There's a different way of writing. You have to write at all instead of writing every one of the authors. And if the sources have no dates, you have to write differently. You have to write ND, which stands for no dates, right? Instead of 1998, you have to write ND. Right. So here, like I said, there's another page here which, yeah. So how do we write if there are two authors? So you have to write like this, right? Three or more. If there are three or more, you just write at all. Kernis et al. 1993. So this is for in-text citation within your writing. If the author is unknown, you have to write the title of the article instead of using the name of the author, because the article doesn't have names. Organization as an author, so there's no particular what, author, but it is written as the organization, American Psychological Association. So you have to write American Psychological Association in place of the authors, right? Or World Health Organization. So yeah, you can check this out. There are a lot of things, right? Or here, personal communication. So if you take your information from interviews, letters, emails, and other person-to-person communication, you have to follow a certain um, format. So the format will look like this, right? Right. Yeah. So here, please go through this yourself so that you can learn more here. Also, you may find something. For example, you may find that you have to um, quote something that is not very conventional, other than books, other than journal articles, right? So for example, so you can just Google, right? For example, how to quote the Quran, APA, right? So in one of my paper before, I wanted to quote the Quran, so I don't know how, so I just Google. So you can find different websites, right? So it's classical works like ancient Greek and Roman stories and religious pieces, not just the Holy Quran, but also the Bible. You can follow this type of, you can read here and you will know how to cite it. All for your readers, right? Quran, Right? So for example here, Quran, you just write the surah, the chapter, the verse 4 to 5, and Oxford World's Classic Edition. This is the edition of the Quran, of the translation you use, for example, right? So yes, you have to be smart and you have to know what to look for. All right, so let's look at a paper. Here, there's a paper that you can go through here. So this is a paper on eating as a transgression, multisensorial performity, the kernel videos of mukbang. So mukbang, right? Mm. Okay, so here in text citation, Abidin 2018, Marwick 2013, Brown 2018, Self 2013. So here a lot of things, a lot of citation here. So what does it mean actually? You see here it does not indicate that this is different authors, but this actually indicate that the information are from this one sentence come from these multiple papers from these different authors. So Abidin 2018, Marwick 2013, Round 2018, Sam 2013. Um, they say the same thing, and this author paraphrase what this the information from this paper into just one simple sentence, right? Um, yes. So this is in-text citation. One thing you have to remember is if you write in-text citation here, you have to make sure that it appears at the end of this of your list of the reference list at the end. So Abidin here just now, Abidin 2018. So here, this is the in-text citation, right? And right, Abidin doesn't. So Marwick, you can find it down there. Hmm. So here, in elaborating the term kernel videos, Sobchak's 2004 notion of the kernel may be pertinent. So you have to differentiate here between the usage of in-text citation within the sentence, but you can also uh, compare and contrast with this one. You put the author put at the end of the sentence. So you can use both ways, right? You can put at the end of the sentence, right? Or you can put it as part of your sentence. Okay. Okay. Now, so you can see that here a lot of okay. So right. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment section or to your respective instructors. Thank you, everyone.